Your attention please. This is the Redback Propaganda Bureau, the official vodcast of the 501st Redback Garrison. I'm Buzzard.
And I'm Sithprincess. And if you're watching this, please be aware that this episode is about Sith Lords. Sith Lords can be hazardous to your health.
They sure can. Do you know just how hazardous they can be?
How hazardous?
Well, in the Star Wars universe, we're the bad guys. Sith Lords are bad guys. That's right, they're really bad. You don't want to mess with them. No,
you mess with them and they'll mess you up. No two ways about it. Sith Lords deal in absolutes.
Not like those mamby-pamby Jedi who tell you one thing and mean another. Like, oh, they might say a Sith Lord killed your father, only for you to find out later that that Sith Lord was your father. And when you ask the Jedi why he lied to you, he'll make some excuse like, oh, it was true from a certain point of view.
Sith Lords are pretty straight up. If they're your father, they'll tell you they're your father.
Yeah, and if they're going to destroy you, they'll tell you they're going to destroy you.
If they want you to rule in your father's place, they'll tell you they want you to rule in your father's place.
Absolutely. Top blokes, those Sith Lords. Top blokes.
But hazardous for your health.
Yeah, true. Top blokes, but hazardous for your health.
Top blokes.
But hazardous. Speaking of top blokes, we're going to meet the top bloke right now.
Really?
Yeah, really. Tell me, Sithprincess, have you heard the story of the Emperor's new clothes?
Yes, I have. Why?
Well, what we're going to see next has absolutely nothing to do with that story except for the words Emperor and clothes.
What are you talking about?
We're going to take a look at what the Emperor wears. And let me tell you, it's not just some cheap bathrobe. No, only the best for the top cheese.
Well, I do love a good fashion story.
Then you're going to love this, SP. You're going to love this. I'm sitting here this morning with the Scotsman, and he's graciously allowed us to come and have a look at his Emperor costume. So Scott, why don't you take us through the bits and pieces that go into putting together an Emperor?
Absolutely. Okay, so this is what's known as a soft costume.
Yep.
But don't let that name fool you. It's not soft as in easy, it's just soft as in material. In fact, some of the soft costumes can be some of the most difficult to get right.
Yep.
It's not like a TK, Stormtrooper costume where you get a box of bits.
Yep.
And all you need to do is put them together and all the bits go in their right places and it all makes sense.
Yep.
This particular costume was built by scratch. Now, the patterns for these, I believe, are still up on the Sith Lord Detachment website.
Yes.
And you can go visit that and follow the links through the Legion page to the detachment site. Basically, of the costume, you've got inner robes.
Yes.
You've got a belt here as well. You have the outer robes. There is a brooch that the Emperor wears around his neck, as well as the Emperor cane, which is this one here. Thanks for sewing skills and made myself a bag.
Lovely.
But this is the Emperor's cane that he is seen using.
Yep.
So that's that one there.
Now that's not something you made yourself, is it?
No, I thankfully managed to get a Legion member in America to send this out to me. It is made of wood, so I actually asked him to varnish the wood and make it sealed for import into Australia because of customs, etc.
Yes.
Customs did actually check the box out.
Yep.
And because it was sealed with varnish, got straight through, not a problem. It wasn't an issue. So I just removed the varnish and repainted it with some spray paint.
Yep.
And ended up with a lovely enamel gloss on the end. So it's meant to look like it's made of crystal, a dark crystal.
Right.
And I've got a stopper on the end as well. So that's the cane.
Yep.
Also boots. We've got roper boots.
Right. Yep.
Leather roper boots that the Emperor wears. Once again, you can find information about this on the Sith Lord Detachment website.
Yep.
And I think also the member who made the cane is still on that Sith Lord Detachment website. So all of these, all of this are found basically on Sith Lords. Now, one of the most important pieces of the Emperor costume is the Emperor's molten face.
Yes.
Now, this was also made by a 501st member in America. I believe he's still on the Sith Lord Detachment site. He's also got on Facebook as well. You can be contacted.
Yes.
And you'll also need to, apart from this prosthetic, is to have makeup just to fill in the eyes, and you also need contacts as well. You don't have to use contacts if you've got a medical condition. You can be excused from wearing them, but with the contacts in, it really gives it a frightening performance. Okay, now I'll just go into a little bit more detail on the outer robe for now, because there's a couple of things in the CRL which are must-haves.
Yes.
Now the CRL constantly changes, so some of this information may change at the time you're viewing this. If you're viewing in the future, hello next year. But always check with your CRL, just because they do change little things every now and again. But one of the things that is essential on an Emperor's robes is this gathering.
Okay.
You can see there's a gathering on the sleeve. Okay. Now you might think I just haven't ironed that. Not true. That is deliberately done, so it sits up.
Yes.
On your arm. And just while we're touching on ironing, it's amazing how much ironing a Sith Lord has to do. So if you want to have a soft costume, get ready to make sure you either dry clean it and have it pressed, or be there with the iron for at least an hour and a half ironing all this material, because otherwise you just look like an unkept bed. You really do. I mean, when you see this all hanging, and it's got all I've deliberately left it unironed just to show you that even with like an Imperial officer or something like that, you want to make sure you just haven't had a sleep in the park.
Yes, exactly.
You want to make sure you come straight out of the barracks, looking absolutely smick, ready for parade, most definitely.
Awesome.
So there's that there. Okay. Other things. Got the brooch. I think that's about it.
Brilliant. All right, well, thank you very much for taking us through that. We really appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody watching will have learned a few things. I know I certainly have. And Scotty, can you tell us the website that people can go to have a look at these in more detail?
Yeah, the Sith Lord website is 501stsithlords.com.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for showing us.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Scotty. You can find out more at www.501stsithlords.com. You know, the Emperor's not so bad once you get to know him.
No, like I told you before, the top bloke's a bit of a top bloke, you know. Sure, he may fry the occasional person with force lightning every now and then, but who hasn't been in that situation, eh? Nobody's perfect. All in all, he's done wonders for our society. He's cleaned up the Senate,
Improved the economy,
provided great employment opportunities,
eliminated that Jedi terrorist threat. How anybody could not like him is just beyond me completely.
Very true, very true. Well, as you know, the Emperor is a Sith Lord, so I thought we'd take a little time right now to talk about the history of the Sith Lords. Sith Princess, why don't you give us a little of their background?
Approximately 7,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, or BBY as it's commonly known, a group of Jedi broke away from the main order and began to make breakthroughs into the dark side of the Force. This led to war between them and the Jedi Order, a war known as the 100-Year Darkness. The Dark Jedi were eventually defeated and exiled. At that time, they formed the beginnings of the Sith Empire, and over the next few millennia, it grew and expanded.
At about 4990 BBY, the Sith Empire was defeated and collapsed, but remnants remained infested in the shadows of the galaxy. In 3960 BBY, Raven, hero of the Mandalorian Wars, betrayed the Galactic Republic, declared himself Dark Lord of the Sith, and formed a new Sith Empire. Things got really messy, and by 3951, a short 9 years later, the Sith Empire is once again in tatters.
Almost 2,000 years of peace passed before a new Sith Lord, Darth Ruin, formed the Sith, and once again a Sith Empire rose. For the next 1,000 years, the Sith ruled, before collapsing yet again from internal power struggles. A surviving Dark Lord, Scare Khan, formed the Brotherhood of Darkness, and that group continued for another 1,000 years before a mighty battle between the Jedi and the Sith almost completely wiped them out.
There was only one Sith survivor, Darth Bane. Assessing the past mistakes of the Sith, Darth Bane instituted the rule of two, a master and an apprentice. That was about 1000 BBY, and the rule of two proved to be a successful practice, continuing unbroken until Darth Sidious and his apprentice Darth Vader, when a young Jedi named Luke Skywalker...
And that's all we have time for history.
Okay. Sith Princess, I just have to tell you this one quick story about when I was assigned to Vader's Super Star Destroyer. Vader used to be called Anakin Skywalker. Me and the boys, we looked into his history and we found out a bit about who his friends were and where he used to hang out and stuff, and we decided to play a practical joke on him.
You played a joke on Darth Vader. Are you stupid?
No. What we did was we got this Gungan, right? And we put this Gungan inside Vader's hyperbaric chamber. So when Vader came back after his shift, he goes to the chamber and opens it up, and there's this Gungan sitting there going, "Eddie, it's me, Jar Jar," waving his arms around and stuff. It was so funny. The look on Vader's face was priceless.
Okay. And Vader took it well then?
Well, let's just say it didn't really end that well for the Gungan. Vader did look into it, but he never actually found out that it was me, so yeah. But boy, it was funny.
Well, let's just hope he never does find out.
No chance. I think now might be a good time to find out what's going on in the world of Star Wars. And to do that, let's go to Pass Windu.
Thank you, Sith Princess, Buzzard. Good evening. I'm Pass Windu, and this is the news you're authorized to know. Zac Efron is rumored to join the cast of Star Wars Episode 7. You may remember Zac from such hit movies as High School Musical, High School Musical 2, and High School Musical 3. This information, combined with the fact that Disney, who are well known for their musicals, have purchased the Star Wars franchise, has led me to conduct a deeper investigation into this rumor. I can now reveal an exclusive that you will not find anywhere else. That's right, folks. Pass Windu has got some information first. I've managed to acquire some footage from the set of the upcoming sequel. Let's take a look at that now. That's right, Moxie. Star Wars Episode 7 will be a musical. You heard it here first. Following on from that shocking news, I've also managed to get a hold of a shooting script from Episode 7, and will now give you a synopsis of the film. The Rebel Alliance receives a distress call from a solar observatory. Upon investigation, they find that the Imperial forces have wiped out all bar one scientist. While conducting investigations on board the station, the rebels discover a hidden room containing a compound called trilithium. The scientist suddenly appears and knocks the rebels unconscious, and then launches a trilithium solar probe into a nearby star, causing it to go supernova and sending a shockwave towards the observatory.
Pass. This isn't a script for Star Wars 7. It's a script for Star Trek 7? Star Trek 7.
Really? I wondered why Captain Kirk was in it. Let me assure you, many Bothan spies will die for bringing me this misinformation. And that's the news for this episode. Back to you, Buzz and Sithy.
Thank you, Pass. Folks, if you want propaganda, you cannot go past this vodcast. We're #1 for exactly that sort of stuff.
And now let's take a look at some of the events we attended last month. Well, another amazing episode, Buzzard.
It sure was. It was a real eye-opener. I learned so much about the Sith.
Yeah. You don't suppose the information on that prank you pulled got back to Vader, do you?
Don't be silly, Sith Princess. It's not like he's got time to watch this vodcast or anything.
Yeah, I think he maybe does.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
We have to go now.
But remember, we're the bad guys doing good.